Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Now if you're a horror fan, then I need your help today. This weekend when I was out DVD hunting, I came across quite an unusual collection, not the typical kind of DVDs that I find. So I snapped up a whole load of horror movies. Now for me, horror is not my number one genre, I guess. So I've got a lot of blind spots in terms of what I know about horror. So if you're a true horror fan, then I'd like to know your thoughts on these movies. Some of these movies I know, some of them I don't. So some of them have reputations for being quite gory and video nasties and all that kind of thing. But yeah, if you're a true horror fan, then please let me know your thoughts on these. Are they good? Are they bad? Did I do well? All of these DVDs I got for $1 each, so pretty good find. But yeah, here we go. Let's see what we've got. First up, I know of this movie, but I still haven't watched it yet. Stuart Gordon's Reanimator. Next up, I have seen this years ago. It's Peter Jackson's Bad Taste, so I do know this one. Yeah, quite gory and good effects for its time. But yeah, what do you think about this one? Next up, it's another Stuart Gordon directed film, another H.P. Lovecraft story, Dagon or Dagon. I don't know this one, so what are your thoughts on this? Next up is one I did actually see at the cinema. It's Tobe Hooper's remake of Invaders from Mars. I didn't like this too much when I saw it at the cinema, but I do want to rewatch it. But yeah, what do you think? Next, Wes Craven's Swamp Thing. I've not seen this one, I know of it. What do you think? Next, I've never heard of this one, but Zombie Death House, and I thought it was interesting that it's actually directed by John Saxon, who stars in a lot of things like Nightmare on Elm Street. So yeah, he stars in this and directs it, but I've not heard of it. What are your thoughts? Next, directed by Scott Spiegel, Intruder, which mentions it stars Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi. I think Bruce Campbell only has a very small part in this. Sam Raimi perhaps a bit of a bigger part. Again, I don't know this one. What do you think about this one? Next, not so much horror, I don't think, but Neil Gaiman's Mirror Mask, with works by the Jim Henson Company. I've not seen this. Next, this is a film I remember seeing the posters for this years ago, but I've never actually seen it. Extro. And this DVD seems to be a German edition. It says that the runtime here is 250 minutes. It's got 2 DVDs included in it, but I can't tell from the German background what's actually included on these DVDs. So if anybody knows, let me know. I haven't watched it yet. I'm guessing it's the main movie, and then possibly, from what I've read, there could be Extro 2 on here. But if it's just lots of making of features, then 250 minutes is a very long runtime. So yeah, interested to know what this one's like, and what are your thoughts on the movie? Next is certainly a movie I remember knowing about in the 80s, but I didn't get to see it. The Gate. Next up, a Lucio Fulci movie, which I haven't seen before. Touch of Death, which from the reviews I've read said it's more of a comedic Fulci film, but it certainly has got some pretty disgusting imagery on the back cover, which I won't show to you here. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this one? Next, not so much horror I don't think, but David Lynch's Lost Highway, which I know has just recently had a Criterion reissue. Next up, Crispin Glover in Willard. Now I don't know if this is officially the sequel to Ben. I remember that being a rat movie that Michael Jackson sang the theme tune for. But yeah, I don't know this movie. What are your thoughts on it? Next up, John Saxon again in Cannibal Apocalypse. Now, these are all a bit of a blind spot to me, all the cannibal ones. There's Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal Apocalypse, Cannibal Ferox, I think. I haven't seen any of those. I know some of them are meant to be pretty gross. This one looks like it could be. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this one? Next, not so much a horror, but John Carpenter's first film, Dark Star. I have seen this years ago, but yeah, it'll be good to see it again. Next up, another Lucio Fulci, The New York Ripper. I don't know this one. Have you seen it? Next, The Beast Within. Not heard of this one, but I like some of the films that come out on Midnight Movies selection. So yeah, I'd be interested to see this. Next, I do know this and I have seen it, John Carpenter's They Live. Great movie. Next, not really a horror, but it's Brian De Palma's Femme Fatale, which is one I haven't seen, but I look forward to seeing it. Next up, Return of the Living Dead 3. I don't know this one. What are your thoughts? Next up, I certainly know of this one, but I still haven't got around to seeing it. Phantasm. And I've got the slip. Next up, Scalps. Never heard of this one. Thought the cover looks quite interesting. Have you seen it? What are your thoughts? Next up, George Kennedy in The Terror Within, which I think is it's a Roger Corman movie. So I'm imagining that the actual movie doesn't quite resemble what's going on here. But yeah, interested to see this. Next, I've got to cover up some of this, but Eaten Alive, which is an Umberto Lenzi film, not the Toby Hooper film, Eaten Alive, about the crocodile. This one, certainly, I will not open it up on camera here. It looks pretty far out. It's certainly got some imagery here that's quite strong. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this one? Next up, The Prowler, one which I've heard of but I haven't seen. Is it good? Next up, The Toolbox Murders, which I know got remade, I think, by Toby Hooper. But yeah, this is the original. Next, Amityville 3D. Although I don't think this is actually in 3D. Pretty sure I did see this back in the 80s, but I don't remember it. And then finally, one that I have seen, Brain Damage, which I thought's very amusing. It's quite good fun, this one. So I know this, but yeah, again, what are your thoughts on it? So yeah, pretty good finds, I thought. I just want to try and expand my horizons on horror. There's, most of my horror tastes, I guess, are fairly generic. I like all the classics the same as most people, all the, Shining, Thing, American Werewolf, Exorcist, all the usual kind of classics. But there's a lot of horror movies that I'm not too familiar with. So yeah, if you're a real horror fan, then I'd definitely like to know your thoughts on some of these. Okay, well, thanks for watching. See you again.